The Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX are the latest drop from B&O. Now we got a lot to talk about here, so let's just jump straight into it. So first up, let's talk about that Bluetooth connection. So they are featuring Bluetooth 5.2 with SBC, AAC, and aptX Adaptive as the connection codecs. Now when it comes to Bluetooth range, I got about 34 feet or just around 10.3 meters. In addition to this, you also get single usage mode with the Beoplay EX. Now, unfortunately, you don't get active noise cancellation or transparency mode when using them independently. And that brings us over to one of the more important features that I'm excited about here, and that's the multi-point connectivity. Now, multi-point connection with these, you can actually connect the Beoplay EX to two separate devices at the same time. In my own testing, I was using them with my Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite, and they were also paired to my iPad Pro. The connection was smooth and stable, and I was able to use my app on either device to control the earbuds. Overall, it's been a really good experience. Now, moving over to latency. When watching video, there was little to no lag or latency to be experienced. Whether YouTube videos or Netflix or Disney Plus, whichever service you're using, it was not an issue. Now, when it comes to casual mobile gaming, not really a problem. You can definitely use these for your regular games like Asphalt 9 or things of that nature, but if you're going to play any sort of competitive shooting games, then you're probably going to want to look elsewhere because these do not have a low latency or gaming mode. So now that's going to bring us over to the battery life of the Beoplay EX. So they were claiming 6 hours of noise cancellation turned on and 8 hours with noise cancellation turned off, with an additional 3 charges in the charging case. Now in my own testing, I managed to get 5 hours and 3 minutes with noise cancellation turned on. And then I managed to get 7 hours and 37 minutes with noise cancellation turned off. In addition to this, the Beoplay EX are also featuring a fast charge option where you can drop these earbuds back into their case for 20 minutes, and that's going to give you an additional hour and 45 minutes worth of playback time. When it comes to recharging the case itself, it does charge via USB Type-C, and they also feature wireless charging, so you have both options here. Now the case itself is slightly wider and thicker than that of their previous version, the Beoplay EQ, but it still has that high-end feel, fit, and finish. It's not cheap or plasticky. It feels like you're getting something that is built very, very well. So that's going to bring us over to one of the most important questions that I get asked about any set of earbuds, and that's how comfortable they are. So for me, my experience with the Beoplay EX is that the comfort is excellent and they fit my large ears perfectly. If you're wondering, these are actually less bulky than the previous version, the Beoplay EQ, and they fit my ears better. Now, I haven't experienced any fatigue or discomfort over the past few days of using these, and I'm still using the large silicone tips for a proper seal. Thankfully, B&O also included a set of Comply foam tips in the box if foam tips are your jam. Overall, the grip is excellent, and I haven't experienced any slippage while walking, eating, or working on, my day-to-day stuff here. The combo of their grip and the IP57 rating make these a good option for people looking for some workout earbuds. Now, when it comes to sleep, the Beoplay EX can work well for back sleepers, but side sleep is probably going to be a no-go if those stems bother you. And then last but not least, when it comes to body-borne noises, these are no better or worse than most other true wireless earbuds on the market. You can hear your own footsteps and breathing because they do isolate quite well, but it's only bothersome if you're going to be walking around while not listening to music. So now let's talk about how you control the Beoplay EX, and they offer you full touch controls here. So you get single tap, double tap, triple tap, and a tap and hold or long press, however you want to call it. Now the touch controls are highly responsive and they're very easy to locate. Unfortunately, the controls of the Beoplay EX are not customizable via the app. I'll expand a little more on this later in the video. Now, speaking of the B&O app, it is available for both iOS and Android devices. So when you first open up the app, you're going to get greeted with the battery life, and then you get your music controls, play, pause, skip track, volume, things of that nature. Moving below that, you get your ANC and transparency controls with their associated sliders. Below this, you have a toggle for the adaptive active noise cancellation. Now below this, you also have your listening modes, which is your EQ presets along with any customs that you've set up for yourself. Below that, you have your call settings, and this is where you can make adjustments between own voice, neutral, and noise cancellation for your phone calls. Below that, you have a toggle for the auto standby. And then last but not least, if you need a firmware update, the app will prompt you accordingly. I actually had a firmware update as soon as I pulled mine out of the box. Unfortunately, that firmware update took like 45 minutes to complete, but I got it done and they're working perfectly. But before we get into the actual performance of the Beoplay EX, if you've gotten any value out of this video so far, please consider hitting that thumbs up along with that subscribe button for me. It's free for you and it helps the channel greatly. So let's move over to the active noise cancellation. The Beoplay EX are giving you solid ANC performance, but unfortunately it's not up to par with what you're getting from Sony or Bose. However, they can be improved by using the included Comply foam tips. These memory foam tips add additional passive noise isolation, which works well in combination with the ANC. Overall, the ANC works well against steady and low mid-frequency noises like machines, engines, and things of that nature. And there are 3 levels of adjustment so you can dial in a comfortable amount of active noise cancellation. And that brings us over to the adaptive ANC, which is available, but in my instance, it doesn't seem to be working properly. Now, to be fair, it could be that maybe mine are messed up, I'm not sure, but let me break it down for you. So I tested it with both crowd noise and jet engine noise at various volume levels. I never felt any increase or decrease in ANC strength the way that you can feel it when you're using the ANC strength slider. Now, when I test this type of a feature, adaptive noise cancellation, on the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro, or say like the OnePlus Buds Pro, you can feel the active noise cancellation ramping up and down, and the difference in ambient noise reduction is noticeable. So B&O might have been aiming for a more subtle approach, but this ain't it, bro. If I can't feel or hear the difference, then it might as well not even be working. Now, I know sometimes that could sound a little harsh, but I'm just trying to keep it real with you, and if B&O watches this video, I definitely want them to hear that feedback. Now, let's move over to the transparency mode. Now, they have a natural sounding transparency mode. It's not overly processed. Things sound normal the way that you would hear it. There are 3 levels of adjustment, so you can dial it in to the exact amount that you want. The difference between the 3 levels is subtle but noticeable. So it goes from a full transparency to a more voice focus mode where it reduces ambient sound. What I would like is the slider to actually raise the volume up and down. That would have been a little bit better in my opinion, but it's nice that we have some sort of adjustment here. Now that's going to bring us over to the volume of the Beoplay EX. And in my testing, I managed to get 112.3 dB peak volume on these earbuds, so definitely more than loud enough for most people. Common listening for me is right around 55% to 75% if I want to jam out with my music. Probably a little bit less if I'm just going to be listening to a podcast or an audiobook of some sort. With that out of the way, that's going to bring us over to the sound quality. And this is where the Beoplay EX truly shine. The sound quality and clarity here are excellent. Now, testing was done with the factory optimal EQ applied. So let's break it down. First up, let's talk about the bass. Now, the bass is well executed here. There's enough weight and punch to satisfy all my bass heads out there, bass head crew, but controlled at the same time. And it can be dialed up or down as needed. So it hits hard and it gives you that sub bass rumble if you want it. Now, one of the test tracks that I used was Me and You by Cassie. Now, no timestamp, just go ahead and let the song ride. Now let's move over to the mid-range. The mid-range is warm and rich with the Beoplay EX. I wouldn't call the sound mid-forward, but it's also not recessed. There's depth to the sound here. The vocals come in clear and natural. They never get muddied by the instrumentation of a band. One of the test tracks that I used was a song called Sabor a Mi by El Chicano. This is some old school fire that some of you young bucks might not be familiar with, but I highly recommend it. The vibe and the warmth of the sound is just unbelievable, and it really highlights the mid-range of the Beoplay EX. And then that's going to bring us over to the treble. So the Beoplay EX have a smooth treble delivery. There's no harshness, there's no sibilance. There's enough power to give weight to the strings and cymbals without overpowering the rest of the music. There's good soundstage here as well, with above average imaging and separation in my personal opinion. Now there is an airiness and an openness to the sound as well that I was not expecting. And one of the test tracks that I used to test this out was To Be Young, Gifted, and Black by Donny Hathaway. Now, once again, there's no timestamp needed. His voice with the band and the organ in the mix is absolutely soul-stirring. I got the chills listening to it with the Beoplay EX. So do yourself a favor and add this song to your playlist if you haven't already. Now moving over to the EQ. Now EQ is a simple affair with the Beoplay EX. They use a circular interface as opposed to a graphic EQ. It's easy to use and they respond well to the adjustments based on what sound you personally prefer. You can also save multiple presets if that's your jam. I created one I call Crisp, which you can see here on the screen if you want to try it for yourself. Now, if I had to give Bang & Olufsen some constructive criticism here with these earbuds. So first of all, the fact that there's no active noise cancellation or transparency abilities when in single usage mode. I'd love to see that because some people do use single usage mode and would like to have that ambient mode turned on. Secondly, the fact that there's no low latency or gaming mode. Now, mind you, they do have aptX adaptive, but still, it'd be nice to see a dedicated mode for people who want to play first-person shooting games. On top of this, the fact that there are no customizable touch controls. We have an app. Why don't we have customizable tap controls here? Let me adjust these to the ability that I want. I want to set things up the way that I want to have them set up. So it'd be something that I think is like low-hanging fruit for them to put into their app. And then last but not least, it's going to be the elephant in the room, which is the price tag. These come in at $399 US, and that is a tough pill to swallow for most. Obviously, everyone's budget and finances are different, and fans of B&O products probably wouldn't even bat an eye at this price tag. But considering the current competition, it's tough to justify the price. For me personally, I think that $250 to $300 is where I would draw the line, considering that's where Sennheiser, Bose, Sony, and many of their competitors, that's right where they're sitting. So now let's get into the comparisons. And for this competition against the Beoplay EX, we've got the Sony WF-1000XM4, the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds, the Technics AZ60, and the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro. All right, so first let's start with the ANC rankings. So in first place, we've got Bose. Second place, we've got Sony. Third place, we've got Technics. Fourth place, we've got Soundcore. And fifth place, we've got B&O. Now, this is where both Bose and Sony truly shine. The ANC strength they offer is tough to beat, and it's a noticeable difference between those and the Beoplay EX. But if I had to choose a winner, the Bose still edge out Sony for sheer noise cancellation power. Now, moving over to the transparency mode. In first place, we've got Sony. Second place, we've got Bose. Third place, we've got B&O. Fourth place, we've got Soundcore, and fifth place, we've got Technics. Now, Sony takes the win here for having the most natural sounding transparency mode out of the bunch. To be clear, none of these do a bad job of this. All are very good to excellent, but a win is a win. So that's going to bring us over to the volume rankings. In first place, we've got the Bose coming in at 115 dB. In second place, we've got the B&Os coming in at 112.3 dB. In third place, we've got Soundcore with 111 dB. In fourth place, we've got Technics with 108 dB. And in fifth place, we've got Sony with 104 dB. Now, I believe these measurements speak for themselves here, so let's go ahead and move on. And that's going to bring us to the sound quality ranking. In first place, we've got the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX. Second place, we've got Soundcore. In third place, we've got Technics. In fourth place, we've got Bose. And in fifth place, we've got Sony. I know that some of the Sony fanboys will be angered by these rankings, and I want to make one thing very clear to you. Fifth place doesn't make them bad. It's just that the other four in this comparison sound better to my ears with or without EQ. That said, the Beoplay EX truly came through with excellent tuning and presentation that brought some of my favorite tracks to life. It was a tough comparison between these five, but the Beoplay EX needed less work than the Soundcores and the others to sound great, so the winner was clear. So now let's move over to some mic quality samples, but first let me preface this by saying that these samples were recorded while using the Beoplay EX in their own voice mode. This mode captures and adjusts the volume of your voice while also removing background noises. So let's test this out. All right, so here we have the mic sample for the Beoplay EX, but we're going to do this a little bit differently. Read off one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies. Choose a sword and you will join me. Choose the ball and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose a sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. Choose the sword, and you will join me. Choose the ball, and join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So, come boy, choose life or death. As always, you're going to have to be the judge of the microphone quality of all these earbuds down in the comment section. All right, so with all of that out of the way, the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX were purchased by me with my own money for this review. There was no monetary compensation involved, and Bang & Olufsen were not afforded any copy approval or early access to this video prior to it being published. I'm telling you this because I believe in honesty and transparency with you as the viewer. As always, please be sure to watch multiple reviews before making that final purchase decision. Now, if you're interested in hearing my thoughts about either the Technics or the Sonys, check out the videos that I'm going to leave for you right up here on the screen. With that said, my name is Jefe, and I'm out this bitch.